Welcome back, everyone. Oz here, and today I've got some r/BestOf for you all. And as per usual, I'll be narrating the post, giving you my opinions, and I hope you do the same down in the comments below. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. This post was collected by Lucy Aria Rose. Their tagline is "I'm keeping the garlic." HOA illegally cut our internet wire. Original poster is Curso6. Post into HOA. The original post was posted May 18th, 2024. For context, I live in a house in a gated community, with many houses next to each other. Basically, our Spectrum wire that runs from the outside to the box, which is a bit of a ways, they cut. I'm not sure if they knew it was an internet wire or what, but they cut it. Apparently it was an eyesore, how it was exposed a tiny bit to the box, which makes no sense because there's also other wires there. Not to mention it's been there for years. So we called Spectrum and they sent out a guy today to check it out. Here's the kicker. Not only did they have someone cut the long, expensive wire, but they also stole it. The Spectrum guy was like, "What the f? They can't do that. They can't destroy our property." He also said he could have reconnected it even if they cut it, if they didn't steal it. It's not even our cable or internet, it's Spectrum's. So now we have to wait till Monday so they can bring in a few guys to put a new wire and the labor to get it from our house to the box. Spectrum is going to charge the HOA the bill. It just doesn't make sense to me. We had no idea they were even doing that to our property. No notifications or nothing. They just came and did it. I was at work. Only reason we knew? Because my dad heard something on the roof and the wire is cut. And the guy said he was part of the HOA. Like, just isn't that illegal as f? Beyond destroying and stealing Spectrum property, they can't come to our property without notifying us and destroy something. If I was home, I would have 100% said, "What the f are you doing? Get the f down," if I saw someone on my roof. Spectrum said they'll increase our internet speeds and give us a faster and stronger cable when they come and install it on Monday, for the inconvenience of waiting 2 more days. But my war is with the HOA right now, because what the f*** HOAs? Commenter, are you sure that guy is actually from the HOA and not just some random asshole thief? Either way, police report would be a good step. OP, he had a commercial electric truck and said his name, so I can only imagine he was at the very least hired by the HOA, because he did say the HOA sent him. I'd highly doubt he'd give all his information if he was a random thief. Commenter, if you remember the company, call them and ask, what the f was he thinking? I wasn't home. I was at work and my dad was there. I have no idea the thought process behind what had happened. Commenter, honestly, Spectrum won't do anything about it unless they keep doing it. Neither will the cops unless they're bored out of their minds. That said, yes, illegal. And if they tried this shit with a fiber backhaul, that would get charged and the state would be interested in bending them over. I don't know, Spectrum seemed pretty upset about it. Like they said, they're going to bill them straight up for the labor, stolen property, and the cost of new equipment and repair for the homeowner. Because Spectrum said, whenever it comes to their wire, no one, not even the HOA, can touch it without calling them first, and they'll always send a technician to see what's up. If it was such a eyesore, Spectrum would have came and fixed it. But instead, they didn't choose that route. So now, Spectrum wants to shaft the HOA. They cut and stole a literal 500-foot wire. Update post, May 20th, 2024, 2 days later. The last post I made blew up and was super popular, so if you are one of the people that saw my last post and wanted an update, here it is. So of course, it turns out that the HOA indeed cut and admitted to cutting my internet wire. Not surprising. But apparently there was some error somewhere, according to them, where the guy that cut it wasn't supposed to. Rather inspect and go from there, where we figure out a solution to make it less of an eyesore. Somewhere between them and the person there was a miscommunication, according to them. Whether or not that's the truth, who knows? So after being angrily on the phone with them, they quickly apologized when I started bringing up FCC and potentially filing a police report. They said that any fee from Spectrum they'll pay. We got on a 3-way call with Spectrum, and the HOA greenlit for Spectrum to make any necessary repairs and send the bill to them, or whatever extra fees that will come from this. Also, I mentioned to the HOA, that doesn't make me whole, considering I've been 4 days now without internet. So I asked, how are they gonna make me whole from their mistake? They said they'll give me 2 months waived HOA fees as an apology. I agreed, as in the end, I want no more problems and I just want my internet back. Furthermore, Spectrum agreed to prorate the days I was missing by not having internet, and will increase my speeds. Increasing my speeds just to be nice and because I'm a loyal customer, so I'd say it all worked out in the end. This was my first ever run-in with the HOA. I'm sure the HOA knew they messed up because they put me on hold for like 10 minutes, then came back with an apology and started being extra nice afterwards. So Spectrum is going to come tomorrow and rewire and make the necessary repairs. It's dumb because all the HOA had to do was talk to me about it, and I would have called Spectrum. Even Spectrum said it was an easy fix to where all they had to do was move the wire up, out of place, and not noticeable. But instead, it turned into all of this. Hopefully after the situation is done, no more, and we all can just move on. Can't say if this is a trash HOA or not, as it is the first time they've ever messed with my house in any way. But thanks for everyone that gave me advice and or was on my side. Commenter. Downvoted. Nope, sorry. Would have called the police and FCC straight up. LOL. The HOA. They screw people all the time and cause losses of houses through liens and crap. I would have stuck it to them. OP. I don't want them to hold a personal vendetta against me. I'll chalk it up to a mistake and that I get faster internet for free. Also, no HOA fees for a couple of months. I'd rather not go into a war with the HOA over this, and forever have them on my ass. Sometimes it's better to just end it with everyone happy rather than being petty. It always irks me just a little bit when someone just quickly jumps to taking things the legal route or dealing with FCC or the police, especially for something that's on a civil matter, because it gets complicated very fast and is almost never worth the headache if you have a simple solution that doesn't put you at harm's way. Because in this situation, the HOA is not going to f with him at all. They're comping him for 2 months of HOA fees, and he's also getting upgraded internet. So in the end, everything was kind of worked out minus the 4 annoying days without internet. Now, this would be a different story if the HOA was refusing to comp for their technician's mistake, because that's a problem. I mean, hell, recently I actually got into a situation where the HOA had hired someone to do maintenance on the road, and they had cut one of my sprinkler lines. And they covered it without even missing a beat. Damn, I'm starting to realize I have really bad luck with my sprinklers. That's like the 5th time I've had like some happen to them. Maybe I should apply for some zero-scaping or something like that. That'd be cool. I'd save a ton of money on water. Huh. This post was collected by Choice Evidence 1983. Their tagline is, "It dawned on me that he was a wizard." Am I wrong for siding with my mom when she told my wife she isn't family? Original OP is nice-ad 8511. The account is now suspended. This was originally posted in r/am I wrong. Content warning for breaking and entering and possible threats. Originally posted September 15th, 2024. My beautiful wife Zoe and I have been married for a year. I have a 10-year-old sister, Liv, who is a very shy, quiet, well-behaved kid. With her parents or super close family friends, she's sassy, funny, outgoing, but around most adults, she's super reserved. Zoe and Liv have an okay relationship, but I certainly wouldn't say they are close. Liv hates the movie character Krampus. When she was 4, she went downstairs on Christmas Eve and my mom and her friend were watching the movie in the dark living room and it scared the shit out of her. It's not like she's still super scared of it, but she definitely still hates it. We were recently staying with my family while in between places, just for a month. And Zoe found a Halloween mask that looked similar to Krampus at her friend's house and thought it would be hilarious to prank Liv. I really don't think she had bad intentions. She has a mischievous streak and it was totally something Liv's dad would do. So, Zoe woke her up with the mask and Liv didn't think it was funny and basically just wouldn't talk to her. My mom came into her room and very aggressively told Zoe, "If you ever go into my sleeping child's room again, we are going to have a huge problem." Zoe tried to say she was just playing around and she didn't think they would get mad as Liv's dad does stuff like that. My mom said, "He's her fucking dad. You aren't family." Zoe was furious and asked if I was really not going to defend her. I said, "You are 100% my family, but Liv probably doesn't think of you as family and that's understandable." My mom even clarified that that's what she meant. She said she considers her husband family but would never ask us to. And she told Zoe to accept that she isn't Liv's family. Zoe is furious with me for not standing up for her. I feel my mom was mostly right. Liv doesn't view Zoe as family and is more closed off and reserved with her versus her dad, who she is 100% comfortable with and would feel she could get back at. Zoe is my family, but it seems weird to push her on my family. Edit because no one is getting it. Zoe is absolutely my family. Zoe and I are a family, and my mom, her husband, and Liv are their own family. Update September 15th, 2024, 11 hours later. Well, my last post got a lot of attention and was a lot more decisive than I was expecting. I'd like to clarify some things. I do think of Zoe as my family. She is the most important family in my life. Liv is my half-sister, and I don't have a relationship with her dad. My mom's husband, though I know that might scandalize some of you with your own views of family. I would never prank Liv because we don't have that relationship. So I was pretty horrified that my wife pranked her. My mom never forced her husband on me, so I stand by not forcing Zoe on Liv. Well, I just wanted to let you all know that we are now no contact with my family. So the Krampus prank took place Friday night, and I haven't really been home since due to crazy work hours. I got home and found Zoe hysterical. I've never seen her like that. She was on the verge of a panic attack and couldn't stop crying. My mom's husband came in a really mocking voice, said, "It's just a prank, bro," like he was trying to be some cool TikTok kid. While I was gone, my mom told Zoe they were going out to dinner with Liv. So Zoe was home alone, and my mom's husband and some of their pieces of friends staged a break-in. They had ski masks and ropes, and obviously, Zoe thought she was going to die. Then, Liv popped out giggling like crazy, and Zoe realized what was going on. I don't agree with what Zoe did to Liv, but it is nothing compared to this sadistic shit. I actually hit my stepdad, which is crazy because he's a black belt, and I might regret it in the morning, but I've never been so pissed. I told my mom I would never forgive her. She began screaming about she was in my child's bedroom, she had no right, blah blah blah. I am done. We got our and went to a motel. Honestly, what sucks is my godfather was involved, and I always thought he was a cool dude, but whatever, he picked his side. Screw them. Comments. Vivid Farm 6291. Well, would it have been a prank if the wife pulled out a gun and shot a few of the people breaking in? I see they wanted to get back at the wife from the first prank, but no one seems to actually know what the hell a prank is. Pranks are supposed to be harmless and funny. Fun for everyone involved. These are like hazing. Neat Pen 6522. First, your wife was wrong, and I don't think anyone is disputing that. And really, the only complaint your mom seems to have is that she went into your sister's room, which I agree with. If she had jumped out from behind a door or something, then I would say your wife wasn't wrong. But none of that excuses a group of grown men causing a woman to think that she's about to be raped and possibly killed. That is not a prank. There are so many other actual pranks they could have done if they really felt like they needed to get back at her, but they chose something dark and scummy. The problem your mom has now is she has lost any moral standing she initially had, which is what happens when you stoop lower than the person you're offended by. If she or her idiot husband says anything about you hitting him, you can look them right in the eye and say, "It's just a prank, bro," and then tell them they now have no room to act self-righteous or as if they had any ground to stand on anymore, since they chose to retaliate in the way they did. They got back at your wife in a terrible way, so going along with their childish mindset, they're even with your wife and now can no longer hold the prank against her. You, however, have every right to protect your wife from people who have just proven they are willing to go to the extreme to put her in her place. I hope that when Liv grows up, she can realize just how f***ed up the prank actually was. Because yeah, Zoe did f*** up. She was probably trying to just find a way to insert herself in the family and be more connected, but in the process, f***ed up. The initial Krampus prank had no malice attached to it. It was in poor taste, it was poorly executed, and the mother had every right to be upset about her going into her child's bedroom while she was sleeping. However, the retaliation they pulled, I have little to no words for. Because in the grand scheme of things, a 10-year-old child is going to know that Krampus isn't real and not a threat to them. But a grown woman seeing men break into a home with various tools to tie her up and bound her, that's f***ed up. And that is an actual threat. A good prank should leave you baffled, not confused and fearful of your life. I recall a time when my stepbrother had gone through the effort of taking a bunch of glow-in-the-dark glow stars and stuck them to my ceiling. Imagine my surprise when I turned my lights off and my entire ceiling was glowing. It was a, what the f***? He put a ton of effort into it, and yeah, it was definitely confusing. We also used to go through the effort of replacing family photos with random celebrities like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Kim Jong-un, I don't think he's a celebrity, he's a dictator, or Nicolas Cage. Just replacing family photos with printed out photos of celebrities. Every now and then we would just do that, and that was funny. The only thing a prank should cost is your time and effort to set the prank up. That is the only thing it should cost. Anything beyond that, and it begins to become questionable if it's even a prank or just an excuse for you to abuse your roommate, stepbrother, brother, friend, or whatever the hell you're pulling the prank on. This one is a palate cleanser, posted by Squirrel Girl VA. Please sir, can I have some more? Is their tagline. My girlfriend, 23 female, is threatening to break up with me over a prank that I, 24 male, pulled on her and her family. Long. Just a general content warning for prank stalking and obscenities and harassment. This past weekend was the big camping trip that my girlfriend would be taking with her and her family. It would consist of her parents, her younger sister, her aunt and uncle, and her 3 cousins. And it was a big family trip that was being planned for cooler weather. My girlfriend told me all about where they'd be camping, and I decided to take advantage of that knowledge. I visited my girlfriend's house to say goodbye to her and wish her a fun trip, and when they all took off in their cars, I got in my car and drove to the campsite they would be staying at. I know the area pretty well, and I was able to find a spot to hide my car from view, and I was able to navigate the woods and keep an eye on them while remaining hidden from view. When it came to nighttime, I put on a Chewbacca costume and ruffled it up a little to make it, wild and untamed. While the family was gathered around the campfire, I started to rustle the bushes. The family noticed, but they didn't think much of it. Then, I started to make growling noises. The family was getting noticeably freaked out, and then my girlfriend's uncle started to walk towards where I was hiding. As soon as he got close enough, I jumped out from behind the bushes and started making roaring noises while running around and acting like a Bigfoot. I shook their tents, threw lawn chairs around, and chased after some of the cousins. I heard my girlfriend's dad yell, "Get the gun!" And that's when I knew I had to end the prank. I took off the costume, revealed myself, and the entire family was pissed. Long story short, I got yelled at by almost all of her family, and the noise attracted the campsite manager, who kicked me out after hearing what happened. Today, I heard back from my girlfriend for the first time since the prank, and she said that she's seriously considering breaking up with me. She just said that she needs some time to think and that she'll let me know when she's made her decision. Now, I'm just left wondering what I do. I'm thinking that I need to pull off a major apology, and I need some advice on what to say to save this relationship. First update. I'm honestly really embarrassed and humiliated about this update. I almost considered not even posting it, but I feel the need to vent and express my frustrations in some way. So, here it is. I really hope you don't think too badly of me and you understand what I'm going through after last night. Last night, my girlfriend's family was holding a barbecue in their backyard, and my girlfriend was able to talk her dad into inviting me. He was originally against the idea of me coming, but he was willing to let me come so long as the first thing I do is offer a genuine apology for the prank that I pulled on all of them. I arrived in their backyard and everybody that I pranked at the campsite was sitting at a table and they were all clearly waiting for me to arrive. I sat down next to my girlfriend and I began my apology. I stated that my prank was ill-timed, immature, and thoughtless, and I apologized for ruining their camping trip that they had apparently been planning for some time. I tried to make it as genuinely and sincere as possible, and when I was done, I waited for some type of response. There was a really long and awkward silence as the whole family just stared at me. Then the uncle whispered something in the dad's ear, and they both burst out laughing, but I couldn't make out what he said. The dad then said that he didn't accept my apology and then told me to leave. My initial response was a very loud, "What the f***?" And that made things worse. My girlfriend's dad kept telling me to leave and I lost my temper. I swiped an empty plastic cup off the table and I said to the family, "Fine, all of you," while flipping them off with both middle fingers. As I was leaving the backyard, my girlfriend caught up to me and said that she was breaking up with me. She said that I was too immature and impulsive. And she said she wants me to leave her and her family alone. I tried to apologize to her profusely. I kept saying, "Babe, I'm sorry. Just give me another chance and I promise it'll be good. I promise." I kept saying this over and over, but she said that she's given me millions of chances and that she can't fix me. She then walked off and I did something that made things even worse. I yelled at her, calling her a bitch. And then I started kicking and punching their wooden fence that separates their front and backyard. I knocked down part of the fence and then I left. All of that happened last night and I feel like part of me wants to just give up on her and move on, but I also want to prove to her that I'm capable of changing. I want to promise her no more pranks, along with trying to control my temper. What do you think I should do? Too long didn't read, apologized to my girlfriend's family over a prank, girlfriend still broke up with me. Second update. Long story short, I got into a fight with my girlfriend and her family last night, she's now my ex-girlfriend, and I lashed out and broke down part of their wooden fence that separates the back and front yard. Her father hasn't contacted me about it, but I'm worried that he's gonna come after me eventually. What kind of trouble can I get in? Third update. I'd rather not go into detail on this post, but the reason for the breakup is on my profile and can be read there on another post. Simply put, I can't stop thinking about my ex-girlfriend. I can barely eat, sleep, or do anything that used to make me happy. Last night I watched my first ever hockey game and I was excited about that a few months ago, but now I don't even care. I spent the whole game thinking about my ex and how she broke up with me. She's all I think about right now and I feel like putting in one last effort in making her see that I'm a better man. What should I say to her? What can I do to get her to come back to me? Too long didn't read, wanting to get back with my ex-girlfriend. Fourth update. For those of you who may or may not know, my girlfriend broke up with me because I pranked her and her family by dressing up as Bigfoot and ruining their camping trip. But I think that since some time has passed, my girlfriend might be of a cooler head, and I was thinking of trying to win her back in a clever little way that involves the Bigfoot theme. My idea, alright, is to dress up as Bigfoot again, but not to scare anyone. I'm just going to dress up, go into her backyard with an old stereo/CD player that still works and play Sorry by Buckcherry. I'll play it loud enough for her to hear and I'm hoping she'll accept it and see it as a cute apology. I know it sounds a little cliche, the whole stereo outside the window thing, but I'm hoping that the Bigfoot costume might be a new little twist on it, and it'll be my way of apologizing for the Bigfoot prank. What do you think? This feels like someone who is purposely choosing all of the wrong dialogue options in Fallout or Skyrim on purpose, and Fifth update. After reading through some of the responses from yesterday, I decided to just go for it and get it over with. I dressed up in the ruffled up Chewbacca costume, grabbed the stereo, and walked over to my girlfriend's house at nighttime. We live in the same neighborhood, and there's a shortcut through a little stretch of woods that I take from my place to hers, and that's the route I took last night. I climbed into their backyard and stood in their grass, holding up the stereo while playing the song that I had intended, Sorry by Buckcherry. The problem is, the stereo was an old piece of that I dug up from my basement, and the volume wasn't loud at all. It sounded muffled, and I didn't want to risk moving closer to the house in case I was seen. But I wanted something to come from that night, and I set down the stereo and peered into the window that I knew led to my girlfriend's room. My girlfriend was just playing with her phone on her bed, and I just stared into her room for a while. I guess I was caught up in staring at her since I hadn't seen her in a few weeks, and I didn't realize that I had been staring in there for a long time. I turned to leave, but I saw one of her neighbors out on their porch, looking directly at me, and they were on their phone. My first thought was that they were probably calling the police, and I panicked. I did something really stupid and tried to go in my girlfriend's house by pulling at their back green door, but her mom saw me trying to get in, and she screamed. Keep in mind, he's still wearing the Chewbacca costume. I then ran back towards the woods and I tried to pick up the stereo, but I really hurt my back while bending over, so I just left it in their backyard. The back pain was also shooting down my left leg, and I had to limp away from the house, and I limped through the woods back to my house while also cussing at myself over how f***ed up my plan was. The worst part is that this morning, my girlfriend called me and left a message on my phone. She said that she knows it was me at her house and that she's only given me one final warning before she talks to the police about harassment charges as well as a restraining order. She says that she's never getting back together with me and told me to move on. Now I'm really depressed, which is how I've been feeling in the past few weeks. I'm physically hurting from my back and leg pain, and I'm emotionally hurting from my girlfriend's words. I'm just really upset and pissed off. What should I do? 6th update. My ex-girlfriend left a message on my phone threatening me with a restraining order. It's just a threat at this point, but I still want to know what happens to my record if she were to file one against me. Will it give me a criminal record and officially list me as a stalker? Is it something that appears in a background check? I just want to know how this will affect things like me getting a job or something like that. Would this affect me nationally or just in my hometown of Denver, Colorado? 7th update. I won't go into detail, but I left a stereo of mine at my ex-girlfriend's house, and this morning I got a text from her dad. It was a picture of the completely destroyed stereo next to a baseball bat, and the message read, "That's your head if you come near my house again." I want to know if I can actually take some action against him for this. He destroyed my stereo and threatened to bash my head in with a baseball bat. What actions can I take? This is all taking place in Denver, Colorado. 8th update. I've spent the past few weeks thinking about how I can possibly get back together with my ex-girlfriend. I've decided to just move on. She doesn't ever want to get back with me, and I've caused enough trouble with her family as a whole. I need to get over her, and I don't know how. My older brother has a wedding in a few days, and it being a romantic occasion is really going to mess with me emotionally, especially since me and my ex were planning on attending together. It hurt even more to see that my ex was selling her dress and posting about it on Facebook. I can't get over the memories and all the time we've spent together, and it hurts knowing that I lost her because of my immaturity and stupidity. How do I get over her? She's literally the only thing on my mind, and it has to end. Help me out, please. Too long didn't read How to Get Over My Ex-Girlfriend. 9th update. I know that most people have seen my previous posts on here regarding me and the issues with my ex-girlfriend and her father. He's already threatened me violently, and as of last night, he's called the cops on me, and now I'm awaiting a court date here in Denver, Colorado. Here's a prior post to catch up. Last night was obviously Halloween, and while I normally don't trick-or-treat at my age, I ended up taking my little cousin out around the neighborhood while my parents and hers were at a Halloween party. I also figured that I would wear my Chewbacca costume since I wanted to dress up and I didn't have any other last-minute costumes. We walked around our neighborhood for a little while, and we ended up on the same block as my ex-girlfriend's house. I knew it was only an inevitability that we would cross her house, but I honestly wasn't worried about it. I figured that her dad may not even be out to see us, and all I'm doing is trick-or-treating. We ended up walking by her house, and of course, both of her parents were sitting by their garage with a bowl of candy to hand out. I tried to grab my cousin and make for the opposite direction, but it was too late. I heard my ex's dad yell, "I see you!" and he clearly recognized me. I just grabbed my cousin and we made our way back to my house without looking back at my ex's house. We got home, but almost an hour later the cops arrived and they told me that my ex's dad wants to press charges on me for stalking and harassment. I'm currently awaiting a court date and I think this is all bull. I didn't have any premeditated plans to go near their house, nor did I have any intent with their property. I was simply trick-or-treating with my cousin and we just happened to come across their home. The dad simply acts as if he's the king of the block and he can dictate who walks in the area. What can I do to prepare for my court case? What arguments can I make? I wasn't stalking the house last night and I wasn't planning on doing anything. I simply walked by it while trick-or-treating and the dad threw a fit. What can I do? 10th update. It's been a little over a month since my girlfriend broke up with me over a prank that was admittedly my fault. It was a dumb, immature move on my part and I've accepted the consequences. That being said, I'm now in serious legal trouble over what happened a couple of nights ago on Halloween. I ended up walking by her house while taking my cousin trick-or-treating and her dad saw me. He's now pressing charges for harassment and stalking and I'm awaiting my court date. Last night, my ex texted me and she was clearly drunk. A lot of her texts were either gibberish or in poor grammar, but I could make out what she was communicating. Basically, she was celebrating me having charges pressed against me, and she was texting stuff like, "I hope you rot in jail," and "lock him up." I responded with text of my own. I called her names like bitch, but she obviously didn't seem fazed. But simply sending her some mean text isn't enough for me. I honestly think that she has some nerve to kick me while I'm down, while all she has to do is just stay on her sidelines while daddy does all the work. I've spent all day thinking about how I can get back at her over this. Part of me thinks that I should just wait until I'm done going to court, but I also want to strike back while the event is still fresh. I'm thinking of one final prank. What should I do? Too long, didn't read. X texted me insults. Want revenge. The collector of this thread has one final comment. This is when the OP deleted his Reddit, and we will never know if he showed up to his court date in a Bigfoot costume. Honestly, I can't tell if this person just needs help or if this is an incredible work of fiction, because I can't tell. Like, if this is real, this is totally f***ed up. But if this is a creative writing project, it's really good. And I really enjoyed it. But if it's real, good God, dude, you need some help. And honestly, the Reddit post, if this was real, was probably deleted to try to hide evidence from the court. I think what really seals the deal for me about this being a creative writing project is the fact that in the 10th update, he's looking to do one final prank. What a damn ride this post was. Don't forget, this is brought to you by GamerSupps. Use code ODDS at checkout. It's basically a caffeine powder that you put in your water, and I actually really like it. I use this on a daily basis. Don't forget that every purchase you make using code ODDS directly supports the channel. And if you want a personal recommendation from me, I would either recommend the Soda Pressing Pear or Dragon Fruit Punch. Those two are currently my favorite flavors. And as a note, once we sell a certain amount of stuff, I get my own flavor and my own cup, and you all know I'm gonna choose some degenerate shit that's gonna make their PR team squirm. My goal is to make them regret partnering with me. So please, use code ODDS at checkout to make my dream come true of making a PR team squirm.